Okay, so I don't really know how we actually missed this piece of Star Wars Outlaws news from San Diego Comic-Con a few months ago, but something that no one's really been talking about came from an interview from PlayStation Access at that event, and we also last week got a bit of a rumour as well with regards to a release date. So in today's video, I'll be going over a general news update on Star Wars Outlaws, but before I get into all of that, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with the notification bell turned on to never miss a piece of news and content for Star Wars Outlaws. Starting off with the SDCC news, originally I honestly thought it was an interview at New York Comic Con from the other week, as the first time I actually saw this interview was around the time of that event, but it turns out the interview actually came out 3 months ago nearly, and like I said, it was done by PlayStation Access, which for those of you who don't know is essentially a news channel for PlayStation, created by PlayStation UK, and they interviewed the Outlaws creative director Julian Geraghty and narrative director Naveed Kavari, and for 99% of the interview it was the same old spiel as every other interview, in that the game is centered around a scoundrel in K-Vest, there are several crime factions that you can work with and build a reputation for, and much more. But by now we all know all of this stuff anyway, and I do have plenty of Outlaws videos discussing these things in more detail, so feel free to check them out after this video. But what was actually really exciting from this interview, and something that no one really talked about, was regarding the wanted system. So in this game, if we do bad things, then the Empire will essentially hunt us down, a bit like how the police hunt you down in GTA if you cause trouble. Now up until this interview, which to be fair was only about 6 weeks or so, we hadn't really seen anything regarding what kind of units we'll come up against during this wanted period, but we did see a Lambda shuttle drop in the gameplay footage along with TIE fighters a little bit later on. But then in that interview, Julian confirmed that Death Troopers will be one of the many units that will come and hunt us down, likely at one of the highest wanted levels, which is going to be awesome and potentially very daunting. Now I appreciate a lot of people might have actually known this news anyway, but it isn't something that I had personally reported on, so I very much felt the urge to get this out there. Thanks to Disney over the years as well, the Empire has tons of units at their disposal, so I'm very keen to see what existing units Ubisoft and Massive Entertainment utilise, and I am actually hoping to see some new stuff as well, but it is definitely fun to know that Death Troopers will be indeed one of them. Regarding the more recent news then, and this potential leak, I would definitely take this with a grain of salt, and it came out at some point last week, but it has been said in this leak that Outlaws will be aiming for a Q2 release next year, so anywhere between April 1st and June 30th. Now this rumour, as you can see, isn't exactly a convincing one, but it is always worth taking these things into consideration, and I myself have been saying for a couple of months now that Outlaws will very likely be releasing in the first half of the next year for various reasons which I have done content on already. So this very generic leak is either just someone who is thinking along the same lines as I am, or it is a genuine leak and I've just managed to guess correctly like many others have. But we will ultimately just have to wait and see, which we are obviously not that far away from now as it is almost November. But that is all of the news I have for you today, guys. Let me know what you think of the Death Troopers and this potential leak in the comments below, and stay tuned to the channel for all of the latest news on Star Wars Outlaws and Star Wars gaming. That is it from me today though. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.